Ladies and gentlemen, people and persons, this is your 30-minute end of pop culture as you know it. I am your co-host, Gnarly Quinn, joined by the main man, Matthias, and we would like to welcome you to your weekly pop culture apocalypse. And Matthias, I know you have a bit of an interesting episode for us today. We are going to have to split this up, but what do you got?
Yeah, we're gonna take a break on TV and movies, and we're gonna kind of hit on music because I feel if we're gonna do this pop culture thing, we got to get every single tentacle of this thing. So yeah, my question is growing up, what were some of your favorite bands that you listened to? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna judge. I might laugh, but I'm not gonna judge.
Here's the thing. So before we start any of this, I'm going to preface that this is, when I say childhood, I'm going to go from probably about like 10 or 11 until now, only because that's whenever I started to like find what I liked. I started to become like an individual. I wasn't exactly influenced by things that were around me. So my list is going to be a very interesting list, and you'll get to see how my tastes had changed and how like who shaped the way that I am now. So it's a very, very interesting list that I came up with, and it was super easy. You sent me the message, and I was like, I already have 6 right now. It was so funny. But yeah, would you like to go first, Matthias?
No, hell no. You go, no. Because here's the thing, you the range I hit from, like, I agree with you. 10 years old is pretty solid. I don't remember, say second grade. Yeah, I'd say you're right. But 10 years old, started to get a little bit more of an idea of what's going on. So I agree with you there. But no, you go ahead and you shoot me with what you got.
Yeah, so that was just me, obviously. But the very first one that I absolutely remember was Kiss. That was my introduction to finding everything that I like, and it kind of laid the groundwork for what I don't even remember the first song that I heard, but I just remember like I was for like 3 years I was just absolutely infatuated with it. I had an iPod. It was, geez, I can't even remember what it was. It was just like a little, it wasn't an iPod Touch or anything, but it was just like a small little iPod that I had, and my mom would like download songs from it, and like the whole thing was just filled with nothing but Kiss albums. I was absolutely infatuated with it. And then my sister had an iPod Touch that I found had access to the internet. So I would literally just sit up in the middle of the night and I would watch their live shows from God knows how long ago. But yeah, that was one of the first ones that brought me into the classic rock world. And then I just blossomed from there, which makes the next entry really funny, actually. So yeah, you can go ahead and laugh at this one because it's hilarious. After that, it was Black Veil Brides. There for a long time, it was the angsty emo Black Veil Brides, which is so funny going from Kiss to Black Veil Brides. But that's all I knew. I found it and I liked it and I rolled with
Well, hell,
it.
they all wear face paint.
Yeah, that's probably why. Because I think I had just moved to cyber school, and what I would do is I would sit in class and I would actually listen to music while I was in class because I had the opportunity to, and it would help me focus a little bit. So I would sit there and I would just listen to Pandora all day, and had Pandora's Kiss Station on, and they were just going through all the songs, and then I was like, wait a second, who are these guys? Because I found their picture on Google. I was trying to find a background photo for my school laptop of Kiss, and then I found these guys, and it was just a whole other infatuation at that point. I mean, geez, at that rate, I was 12, 13. So that was a blossoming moment. And then after that, I went to Wednesday 13. I was about 14, 15. Kind of got into the horror shock rock value a little bit because Alice Cooper was another one that I liked.
Yes.
So then
oh my God.
Yes.
You just named the king right there, man. That's yeah. Let me
Yes.
you go and keep going. That's probably why you and I get along so
Good.
well, right there, man.
Yes, Alice Cooper was the king of shock rock, and
Yes.
That's who Wednesday got some of his inspiration from, and it was a perfect mix of like modern rock and the classic rock that I had liked so much. So it was like Wednesday 13, and then I found out I like Slipknot too. Slipknot was after that. And then I
Good.
found out that Joey Jordison and Wednesday actually were in a band together called Murder Dolls. So after that, I had that whole thing. So that was kind of the start of me mixing everything. So yeah, Slipknot was one of them, and then Motionless in White was in there as well. And after that, Killswitch Engage actually that was another one that was kind of the blossoming of what I listen to today and why I listen to it. It's a very interesting mix, and it's also a really interesting transition, because the way that I transitioned between all of these was just, it was wild. It was a wild ride.
Well, you're sticking in the right genre. I'll give you that. You're sticking the rock thing.
So, like that's my thing, dude. That's why I thought it was going to be an interesting mix, because I know you kind of go all over the place here, but I did find my lane pretty early. I found it and I kind of stuck with it, because there's so much to explore within the rock and the metal genre. I feel like there's always something for everybody, even if you don't like to stick with it or constantly like that sort of tone. There is so much. There's so many subgenres too, which I mean, I hate using subgenres, but there's so many things within that genre.
I feel metal gets, especially newer metal, gets a bad rep because a lot of people, like I talk to, will say like, "Oh, that's that screaming music," or "That's that, not devil music, but like screaming, just mosh pit, sets a bad example."
Angry.
Angry.
Everyone always says like, "Oh, the angry music."
But I think it just
there is something to be said for that sort of genre.
But no, I think rock and roll and metal, they're probably up top on my tree of music, and the very top, right there at the star. We're almost Christmas time. I'll just start using Christmas stuff. I think rock and roll metal, they're right up there. I you said Alice Cooper, that hit the nail on the head right there. But so far yours isn't going to be as embarrassing as mine's going to be. I know it.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I know we got a commercial break coming up here, but all right. So I'm going to kind of step in and tell you what mine was. So way back in the 90s, which is like the Wild West of technology, because it's funny you're saying iPad and iPad Touch, and we didn't have that crap back in the 90s. We had CD players and radio. The radio was like the internet back then. Like that's where we heard everything. But I remember riding the bus to school, because I had a long bus ride. It was like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was long. So now you're going to laugh at me, but you want the honest truth. All right? I remember.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I remember. Oh boy, let me think about this. Before I dive in, before I dive in, I want to go through the motions and see if I'm going to say this right. So we had a group of kids on the bus they thought they were, well, I wasn't very popular, but they were. So I kind of just was in for the ride. They would play NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. What's her name? You probably heard of her. Britney Spears. I know she's like under the radar.
I grew up with Britney Spears, which is weird to say, but no, that my older cousin, actually, we would sit in her room all the time and listen to like what was popular, and like Britney Spears was always on like the #1 charts.
Well, I don't know if you could tell, that was complete sarcasm. That's all the radio would just play, which is Britney Spears and NSYNC, Backstreet Boys.
Oh, the Backstreet Boys, yeah.
Oh yeah, mainly those three. I mean, they throw in a little bit of like, let me think here. Country. Oh yeah, that was another one too. That was fun.
Oh my God.
Shania Twain.
She was good though.
Still is good.
Let's go, girls.
Toby Keith. He's one of my favorites for country music. You know, rest his soul. He just passed away not too long ago.
Oh.
Garth Brooks. Oh yeah, my that bus was like, that was it. That was, if you didn't listen to this stuff, you were not part of the crew. But yeah, I just listen to this stuff. Even if it was background noise, because I'd bring my Game Boy on or talk to my buddies on there, or whatever, and just listen like background music. But no, I'd say that genre, and then between listening to the radio, my dad's garage, that's where the Alice Cooper, the AC/DC, Aerosmith, Sammy Hagar, that's when all the good stuff would come. So, Saving Grace, my dad's garage, listen to the better stuff. And I'd say about, let me think, I'd say about 12, 13, I started listening to that kind of stuff. And then you said that's when the Slipknot, and then System of a Down, would come in. And my one buddy, he listened to this band called OTEP was one of them. I don't know if you heard of them or not.
Oh, that was a good one. Yes. That's a good one.
There was one called Rob Zombie. I can't forget about him. Rob Zombie.
You cannot forget about him.
He's probably the first rock and roll CD I probably ever bought. What's that?
Yeah, I think the one that I was allowed to buy that I sort of bought was it. I think it was one of Rob Zombie's CDs. It was like the Walmart version too, so it was so bad because it was all censored. It was hilarious. That's all I had at the time, though. Yeah.
Thank God for Rob Zombie. Him I listened to probably the most out of anything, because he got me into like Slipknot and System. And then that would be like the times where I'd play that in the background while I kicked on the Xbox for a while. I just mute my game and listen to that stuff in the background. And then Disturbed came. Disturbed was probably on top of that hill. I seen them last year and they kicked butt, man. They were good. Them and Breaking Benjamin. Good show.
Oh, Breaking Benjamin's good too.
They are.
I will say I didn't get into them until a little bit later.
Right. All right, folks, we're going to cut to a little commercial break, and we're going to talk more about how my pick of music is more humiliating than Quinn's. And we're going to go from there. It took a lot of guts to say that. But, yeah. All right, folks, stay tuned. We'll be back here in a little bit.
Hey, everyone. We interrupt today's episode just to bring you a small little reminder that if you like what you hear, don't be afraid to share us, comment. We would love to hear what you have to say. I know we're just starting out, but any little thing goes a long way to help us out in the long run, even if it's just the click of a button, click of a like, click of a share, even click of a follow, a subscribe, anything. It helps us out immensely, and we greatly appreciate those of you who do watch. And even if it's just for one episode, even if it's just for a couple minutes, we really, really appreciate that. If you like us, share, comment, subscribe. I know everyone says it, and we keep beating you over the head with it, but it's important to us. And I hope that it's important to you, too. With that being said, we will bring you back to today's episode. Thank you. Alrighty, everyone. We are back for part 2 of our favorite bands, or favorite artists, childhood artists. So I know I listed mine. I know we kind of touched on yours, Matthias. So I will let you pick up from there.
Yeah, Quinn, it's good to be back. Yeah, I just, like I said, my music background's been all over the place. But like you said, or like before earlier, I didn't quite hit my stride till like you said, 12, 13, 14. That's when I kind of decided, heavy metal is probably my base music I listen to. Like I said, rock's pretty all around. Like, it's pretty relatable. Like, pretty much
you can't go wrong.
Anyone you talk to, they've at least listened to some kind of rock. I mean, sure, you got people that listen to rap and country and classical, which those people are probably very sophisticated. If you still listen to like Beethoven or Bach, I want to talk to those people. But like rock's pretty relatable. Anyone can listen to it. But yeah, like growing up, So Rob Zombie was one I listened to a lot. And then that got me into like Slipknot, System of a Down. And then pretty much, I'd say my late teens, this Disturbed was up there, and then I started listening to Avenged Sevenfold. What's up? Oh, wow, it's escaping me. Huh.
I'll try to help you out if I can.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just had a brain fart. I get those quite frequently. Five Finger Death Punch. That's one.
Oh.
Yeah, and then like actually recently, within the past 5 years, even 7 years now, I've bumped into some guys I worked with who are really big in the 90s. And I tell you what, it's pretty, I enjoy it. Like I get it. The 80s, that's where it was at. Like that had all the hair bands and pop was, evolving. But like the 90s, man, like in terms of rock, to me, it's some of the best music that, like, I think you listen to. Like, have you ever heard of, I'm sure you've heard of them. My buddy got me into, Chris Cornell.
Absolutely.
Okay. To me, and I will stand on this hill. I mean, anyone listening, I will talk to you about it in the comments. I believe he is one of the greatest singers of all time.
I don't think anyone is going to completely argue with you, honestly.
I think, all the bands he's been with, Audio Slave, Soundgarden, especially Audio Slave, and then I think he had a band called Temple of Dogs. I'm not too familiar with that, but just him solo. He's one of the greatest singers of all time. Really liked him.
Oh, dude, he's great.
It is, and then I can't think of his name, but the lead singer, the Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
I can't think of what his name is, which is pathetic. I think I need stones for that. But I can't. But that's a great band. And then I just got into a band called Tantric. I don't know if you've heard of them or not.
Yeah, actually, I have. They're pretty interesting.
They are.
I also have branched out into some different ways, and that's the beautiful thing about like rock and metal. You can go so many different ways with it. But yeah. I do agree with your statement, because my fiance, he grew up in the 90s. He was a 90s baby, so his mom used to listen to all this different music, and his mom had amazing taste in music. Everything from Led Zeppelin to the 90s things. Like, Alanis Morissette, you had Alice in Chains, you had Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden. Even some Nirvana and like Pearl Jam. Just some of like the main big 90s bands that were there. Like, it's kind of underrated now, because I think everyone kind of went through the 90s and they're like, all right, we're just gonna leave that, but it's very underrated.
Right, like it's sad to say this, but I feel that rock and roll doesn't get appreciated like it used to, and it needs to. Like, if you look at like the Super Bowl, when was the last time you seen a rock band play the Super Bowl?
Jesus.
Like I get like punk rock, like
I don't even think I was.
I know Coldplay was there a few years ago, but that's like pop rock, I guess. But I'm talking like actual, like rock. It's been a while.
That's gonna be a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know it's not as popular as it used to be, but that doesn't mean the stuff sucks. There's still a lot of talent out there that it's just.
Well, if you want to count Bruce Springsteen.
Oh yeah, that's been. I think I was still in high school when he came out, but yeah, but it's cool. Like, my buddy got me into like Tantric, and you've probably heard of, hope I'm saying this right. It's Corrosion of Conformity. I think that's the name of the band.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's a band called Down. You ever heard of them?
Yeah, that's Phil Anselmo's band.
Yes. Yeah. So it just.
Yeah, from Pantera.
Yes. Yeah. Another good band too, Pantera. These are just, like I said, these are names I'm just kind of picking up the top of my head because I'm terrible with names. But yeah,
Yeah, me too.
Mostly growing up, I'd say rock and roll's been the one that I listen the most. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll sometimes, like, on my Pandora, I'll I'll go from that one day, and the next day I'll kick on Guns N' Roses or
Oh yeah,
Alice
it's good
Cooper.
to switch it up every now and again.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think the other one too, like a guilty pleasure, The Darkness. I believe in a thing called love. I don't know why. That's like the best drunk song on the planet. Like 2 a.m. you just blast that song. It's so great. It's like everything about the 80s. Like there was so many drugs involved. It was fantastic.
yeah, unfortunately we weren't alive to enjoy all that because everything's illegal now, and you can get away with anything
Or
back
fortunately.
then. Yeah. Yeah, that's just like I remember
No,
as a kid when my mom would take me to like school or doctor's appointments. I remember on the radio she was a big fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
yeah.
That's another great band.
Which I have a bit of a, I don't want to say tainted view of that because 2 years ago we ended up going to Louder Than Life in Louisville, Kentucky, and they were the end band for the whole weekend. It was the Red Hot Chili Peppers were closing out that Sunday, I believe. And I guess we had left early, but we didn't quite know what was going on because like the music just kind of ended. And then we found out that they had just kind of like stopped either halfway through or like most of the way through their set. They just stopped playing because some dude in the crowd was heckling them or something. So they just stopped playing and left. They literally just cut their set early and was like, screw that dude. And then they all left.
That's dumb.
So I was like, that's
ridiculous.
kind of a, yeah, like you were the last band in a 4-day festival with over 50 bands and you just stop because some dude said something to you. I'm like, okay. And that's just the story that I got. I didn't go looking for the whole story, but yeah, that's kind of my view on it. It kind of tainted it a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I really can't think like about like a whole lot. I'd say, like I said, like you mentioned last time, about 12, 13, I started to be like, okay, I think I kind of like rock and roll a little bit better than most things. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some rap I do like. Like old school.
Oh, I'm not saying.
Like Tech Nine. My one buddy listened to Tech Nine a lot. I like Tech Nine.
That was.
Yeah.
Tech Nine's not bad. I think with the advent of Slipknot, and then you had Limp Bizkit, so there was kind of like the rap elements that were embedded into metal, and even like bands today. I know Attila is another one, not safe for children, but Attila's another one that kind of mixes that up a little bit. I think Falling in Reverse tried to do that too, where Ronnie, I think after Jackie left, Ronnie tried to do a little bit more of the rap thing because he went off on his own and he did like some rap stuff, and then he tried to bring that into Falling in Reverse, and I wasn't a fan of it. He didn't mix it well personally. I don't think he mixed it quite well, but that's just my thoughts on it.
Didn't he do a song earlier this year with Tech Nine?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I can't even remember what it was. I've fallen out of favor with them ever since, but again, that was just me personally.
Well, I get random stuff on my feeds and whatever, and I think the song's called Ronald, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, hey, wow, this band's pretty good, and I'm like, and all of a sudden, middle of the song, Tech Nine pops up. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, it didn't show like the feed I was on. It just said. It had nothing about Tech Nine at all. I'm like, holy cow, that's the last thing I was expecting. That was a pretty decent song.
Noted. I might have to check it out because it was. I didn't realize this. It was Tech Nine and Alex Terrible, which I don't know if you ever heard of Slaughter to Prevail at all.
Yeah, I've heard of that before. Yep.
Definitely a bit heavier in the realm.
Yes, that is heavy stuff. I haven't touched base on that, but I'm not saying I won't.
Oh no! I mean, it takes a certain flavor that is definitely right up my alley. I'm very picky about songs, obviously. Like I had touched on before, living with an audio engineer, it's pretty hard because he'll pick out things. So there's certain things in some of those songs where I'm like, that could have been done better. But I mean, it doesn't keep me from listening to the songs that I like, obviously.
Right.
But no, Slaughter to Prevail. Another one of my favorites is Orbit Culture. Actually, I love those guys. I got to see them at Louder Than Life too, and I was like front row right on the barricades. It was one of the greatest days of my life. It was amazing, and they threw down. I think, again, audio engineer, he loves to see how people do things live. and they'd have Orbit Culture has a little bit of the European synth in there. It's kind of like a Heaven Shall Burn. I don't know if you ever heard of Heaven Shall Burn at all, but they're pretty good about with the, because they're both European. I'm not sure where they're from respectively, but they're really good about putting like these little synth samples in, and then to see it live where they just kind of took out like Orbit Culture just took out like almost half of the samples that they had behind their songs, and they just threw down. It was amazing. They went up there, they played, they killed it. It was awesome.
Nice. Another one I listen to is it's like a go-to band I listen to. They're called Volbeat. You've heard of them, haven't you?
Oh, dude, yeah, of course I've heard of them.
That was a sarcastic joke. I knew you were gonna say yes. I just wanted to keep you on your toes. But
it was a test.
Volbeat's pretty good.
Every now and again, I will say I gotta be in a certain mood because he's got a very, very specific voice, and I think it's like that high pitched, not really high pitched, but he's got a very specific voice that I gotta be in the mood for. I mean, I used to slam them all the time. It was just a fun band to put on in the background. I mean, if you're looking for some good riffs and some good vocals, it's a nice combo. But yeah, I definitely have to be in the mood for it, for sure. Very song specific too. They have a wide range as well. It's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, like back to like listen as a kid. Let's say I don't really hate any really type of music because I grew up with it all. Like I got friends, family that listen to country. But some of it is still good. But it's not my favorite type of music, but some of it's listenable. Like, and like I said, rap, like I said,
as surprising as it is, I do dabble in country, but I'm very specific with my country. At this rate, like, most of the bands that I do listen to that I consider country are classified under, like, folk. And I'm like, dude, this is literally the basic of country. Like, give me a couple acoustic guitars, maybe an upright bass, or just a bass in general. You got some basic drums, and like, dude, that is country. Like, why is this classified as folk? But no, I dabble in that every now and again. It's fun. It can be fun if you find the right stuff.
Right, and then what? Like growing up, like I said, back on the bus days when I was like 7-8 years old, listen to Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears.
I was gonna say, you said your list was gonna be more embarrassing than mine, and so far it hasn't been.
I know, but I really had to dive real deep into my bravery and say that.
Had to dig.
I had to dig deep. 2 shovels.
Well, 2 shovels.
2 shovels.
I think the only embarrassing thing you said was Five Finger Death Punch. That's it. Which I can't say anything. I mean, Five Finger Death Punch used to be good. It was fine the first album, and I was like, okay, this is great. And then it was the same topics with almost the same riffs. It seemed recycled to me over and over again. Yes, I was like, all right, I'm out.
I feel like I agree with you, but to me, I'm not sure if it's correct or not. I feel they did too many covers.
It's understandable too. Like, don't get me wrong, I like a good cover every now and again. Devil Driver did Sail, and they freaking killed it. Not to mention there's other covers that are some of my favorites.
I just feel like almost every one of their songs is a cover, which is whatever, but it's just like, oh my God, get some,
original content.
Imagination, some original stuff here, but like I was back to the pop thing before we got to wrap up here. I just feel a lot of the songs like today that are popular, I don't think they're that good. Like, it's just weird what people think. It's weird.
Well, because everyone started doing the basic. Like, it was just give a basic beat, something you can shake your butt to, or like bop along in the car, and then use the same old recycled material, and then go from there. Like, as long as it sounds catchy. And honestly, the thing with this, I don't know if it's mumble rap. That's the thing where everyone's like talking real low into a microphone and then calling it rap. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more popular. Anyways, I'll let you talk.
No, it's okay. I know. I feel pretty good about this, going back to nostalgic ways of talking about what we listened to growing up. Unfortunately, we have to get going here, but yeah, anyone listening, like I said, follow, share, like, and comment what you guys listen to when you were kids. Growing up,
what
I
are
should
some
say.
of your favorite bands from childhood?
Yeah.
or artists, bands or artists from your childhood.
Correctly, yeah. We won't judge. I mean, if I can say I listen to Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears out loud, nothing's gonna, yeah. So, all right, Quinn, we're gonna wrap up here today. And
all right, Matthias.
Yeah, I think it was a good talk, and we'll see what we get into next time. You have a good one, everyone. We'll see you.
Yeah, see you next week. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. Be sure to let us know in the comments, what were some of your favorite artists and or bands that you listened to in your childhood? We would love to hear from you. But yeah, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, share us with your friends. I know we cover a lot of different material in the pop culture realm, so if you find a video you like, absolutely. You never know. We might cover something that you like. And we will see you on next week's episode of Apocalypse.